back to another episode of Coming Unto Christ. I am really excited for this opportunity to talk with a dear friend of mine, Kevin Hicks. What's up, Kevin?
Not much, Leon. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How's Chino treating you?
Chino's great. It's 60-something degrees here today, and it is what it is. It's good. Family's doing well. And Thanksgiving was awesome, and I can't complain. So it's going.
Love it. Yeah, I was going to ask you how Thanksgiving was. Did you spend it there in town?
Yeah, we just kind of hung out, my family, and I had just had my parents in town for a baptism for my son, so that was super exciting. And then we had Thanksgiving, and so it was just great. It was just calm and easy. So that's good.
Well, that's great. So you're not teaching still, right? You've moved on to
so
bigger and better things.
Public education. Yeah, right. So I'm building a business right now and just doing a little bit of online teaching, 8th grade science. So that's good. But I left the public charter school, or the brick and mortar schools, we call it, right? So it just, but I get a lot more time with my family doing it this way. So I'm on. So it's been great.
I love that. Did you guys end up selling the house there, or are you in that house?
No, we moved we were at my wife's grandma's house, and that ended up not working out, which was great because the Lord told us no, and so we moved back to we had a rental, and so that we're back in our original house.
Good. That's great. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm just glad to see your face. It's been a long time since we had the opportunity to talk, so I'm just really glad that you wanted to share your story about your journey in coming to Christ, and this is just really exciting. So, kind of hit us. How many siblings did you grow up with? Where did you grow up? Kind of tell us a little bit about your family.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks. No, and it's been good. If you hadn't run away to the White Mountains, then we would have still been friends.
That's right.
So but I'm just kidding. We're still friends. But that's all great. For me, I grew up in a small ranching farming community in Northern California called Etna. And I've got 6 other siblings. So there's 5 boys, 2 girls. I'm number 5 of that, and I'm right in between the girls. But it was great. I grew up farming, ranching. I a tiny little high school. Our school was only 250 kids. And, I played sports there. I did a lot of agriculture. Major was in college, and that's where I went into teaching, was in agriculture education. And throughout my life growing up, it was always exciting. I had a great growing up. I had friends, I had family, we had church, I had sports, and really it was ideal, I would call it. But it's so funny because I look back and now with, as I met more and more people, Leon, I see that maybe I had it too easy in the sense of maybe I didn't have enough in my life to learn from that may have caused trouble down the road. And that's what I love about your podcast is how can we all come unto Christ, right? And growing up, and like I said, going to high school, going to, doing those things was phenomenal. And I went to church. I did what I was supposed to. And then, just as I grew up and moved forward and had like I said, my parents were great. My dad was an auto mechanic. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. And so, it was that thing where when I would come home from school, she would be there, right? And there would be maybe something baked on the counter, some cookies or something. And so it was awesome. I had great friends, and like I said, a small community. You know how that kind of works, where it was safe, and we could go out and do whatever we wanted, basically whatever. And so that was great. But it was funny because I don't think that I was, what's the word? I don't think my spiritual growth wasn't stressed enough, in the sense of I just did what I was supposed to do, just went through and just kept going. And I think I didn't have enough trials to really be able to know where I stood. Because and I went on my mission so I went to BYU, Idaho, in Rexburg, which was awesome. I say everyone should look into that school. But I went there, and then I went on my mission. And I went on my mission and I served in the great state of Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah. And it was awesome. But, and then I came home, and what was interesting is when I went out on my mission, I didn't know a lot, because I had just done what I was supposed to.
Right.
And that's what you do. And I was very obedient in the sense of going, I went to Mutual, I went to church, and I was good. I mean, I didn't get into a lot of trouble. I had decent grades. And even when I went on my mission, there was a lot of key principles that I didn't know or even really understand. And so I had to do a lot of learning. But more than that, as this I don't know if you call it a poster child, but I was a good kid, but there was a lot going on in my life that wasn't good. And so, but no one knew about those things. We talk about sometimes when we go throughout life that we hide things, or we do things that don't necessarily help us, but we don't want to tell anybody about, right? And I didn't have that trust in my parents, because we didn't talk about anything. That was the other thing. We went to church, we did this thing, but we didn't talk about the important things, really, right? And so that kind of was a stepping stool to lead down a path that was against or away from Christ. And even some buddies of mine and I were talking about this just the other day, is, do we go to church or are we coming unto Christ? And I think that's more of the question of, why do we go to church, right? Why are we doing these things? Because if I have contention in my life, I don't think church necessarily will solve that, but Christ can. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that kind of led me in that direction of, well, where am I going to go and how am I going to get there? And so really contention in my life, struggling with different addictions and addictions that play more with the spirit and the mind more than it does with the physical body, and how, that messes you up in the sense of it's always there. I look at some people, that have an alcoholic addiction, and you can physically separate yourself, right? But you can't separate yourself from your mind and your spirit. And that's something I didn't have any tools. I didn't have tools of how to deal with that. And that has played a lot of games, or, it's played a lot in my mind of how I handle things, how do I take care of things, what do I do now? And so, and I'm kind of rambling, but really at the end of the day, it's what is this life for, and kind of how can I get to where I want to be with Christ and take those steps forward and have those tools in my toolbox. Mm-hmm. And that's what I really hope that people can grab a hold of, is knowing the tools, because we're going to run into all sorts of things, right? Right. But how I can get the job accomplished. I can overcome if I have the right tools. So that's kind of where I got to that point.
So Kevin, did somebody point that out to you, that you had been kind of doing things secretly or in the dark? Was it somebody that pointed it out, or how did you come across to recognize that what you were hiding wasn't okay?
Ooh, that's a great question, Leon. I think all of us know when we're doing something wrong that we shouldn't be doing it, right? But most of the time, that doesn't stop us.
Right.
Right? Where, for me, curiosity got the best of me. And there was, again, like I said, there was no tools that I had to stop me or to be able to get me to change pathways, right? And so for me, I got married, and we had a baby together, but those addictions were playing a really big part in that life. And then, after I got married, I had told my wife at that time, we've since been divorced, but that, hey, I've got this issue. I had to come forward. It wasn't that, hey, you got caught, or, here's these drugs. Not that I wasn't into drugs, but I'm just saying, every addiction is a drug of some sort, right? It's a mental drug, a physical drug, and the fact that, hey, I need to do something different, but I want you to know about it. So I had to come forward and do that. Now, that's not easy, but like I said, I knew what I was doing wasn't right? And you can't be around good people and around good things and you're doing bad all the time. It just, the contention that's there, right? Or the contraries, right? Of how that works. Like, it has to be one way or another. And so with that said, so then, hey, look, now we've got to do something different. And it wasn't easy. And again, we didn't have the tools, being a young married couple and then having a baby. We didn't have the tools to know what to do with it. And so there was some bad advice and information given. And so my ex-wife left and took my child with her. And so then I followed, right? And so this is just the start of the problems that occur when people are secretly or, separating themselves from Christ. If we follow him, we won't have those issues as much, maybe, or that we'll have more tools to deal with them. And so, I moved. I went from BYU, Idaho down to Arizona, and met a wonderful woman there. And before we even got married, I told her, hey, look, this is things going on in my life, but we were willing to work at it, right? And I think a lot of people, in order to follow Christ, it's going to be hard. It's going to be something you have to work at, because the world is saying don't, right? Don't do that. And if you want to come to Christ, then know how these other things are so much easier to do. And so, yeah, don't do that, right? There's a trial around the corner. To gain faith, we have to go through more trials. Well, no, the natural man says, well, that's too hard. And so that's kind of how that came about. It was like, hey, look, I had to do something. If I wanted to different. And I just needed people around me that would support me in that. And that's really what is, to have a group of people that are super supportive in all that I do. And that's huge, right? And I think we don't have that as a people, especially men. I don't feel like we have a support group where we can talk openly about things, because, and I think it's even, to be honest, worse in women, because they're so focused on kids or family or whatever. But that's really helped me a ton in getting closer to Christ. So.
Right. And I love that you said that, because I do believe that it is really difficult for men, because we have such the pressure, the weight of doing, everything, right, in parentheses. And that's where I learned with Warrior Heart that men need the three things to survive as a man, right? We need a beauty to love, an adventure to fight, and oh gosh, it's just brain fart. But John Eldredge really nailed it when he talks about what we need, and you hit it where we need the community. So at Warrior Heart, there's the men's retreat that I've been to. It really creates that community of men that we're able to help each other. Because you're right, and the world tells you do you, and that's probably the falsest doctrine I've ever heard. It's just crap. So if we could find a group of brothers that are similar and not similar, but that we are together, right, in Christ, and we're linked with him, we're yoked with him, and now we're helping each other. So I've even said it before that I believe that elders quorum in church, right, should be that community for us. But for some odd reason, it doesn't seem to be like it should be. And so we have to go in other directions and other places to find that community, which is fine. I think that that's why the good Lord has created these retreats and people that write books to help us understand what our needs are. And so I'm curious, though, Kevin, what was different for you when you knew and felt that you were doing something wrong, that you continue to do that rather than turn to your Savior, Jesus Christ?
Because it's more fun, Leon.
Yeah.
Why else? Because our natural man says, hey, this is good stuff, man.
Right.
And why would you? I mean, you know better, but so what?
Right.
And you know, why do we do anything? I love candy. Should I eat it? Well, not as much as I do, probably. Mm-hmm. Why? Well, I know it's going to not make me good, or put bad, health. But I like it, and I think that goes back to any addiction. Is like, hey, Christ is not standing right here in front of me. He's not. And yeah, there might be pictures in my house, but if I'm going to go do something I shouldn't, I'm going to go away from those pictures, right? I'm going to go away from, because I'm going to segregate myself, right? Being alone is the worst thing that we could ever do, right?
Amen.
And it's hard. There's a lot of times during our life we have to be alone, whether that's wherever, jobs, vacation, whatever.
Trips, right? Whatever.
Trips, whatever, you're going to be alone. And so, okay, do I have the tools? Do I have the people around me that I can be with? It's interesting. So tying back into that with this group. So I love the different retreats that you've been on. And something I heard the other day was this. When I have good friends, they'll come to me when I'm in need, right? When I'm struggling or when I need them, right? But great friends come when you have good news to share. Do I have good news friends or just bad news friends? And when I think what comes down to it is, if I don't have a group of good news friends, meaning no matter what it is, if it's good to me, if it's a micro victory, I can come to them excited about what just happened, right? Because I have people in my life that would come and give me the shirt off their back, right? But if I tell them, hey, I just had a huge success in business, they're probably going to and not want to hear it, right? Because hey, I'll help you, but don't tell me about your successes, because then I'm going to feel bad, right? Or I'm going to try to tell you why my business is better, or why I do things better, right? And this group is crazy. So they're all missionaries for my mission. Ironically, it's crazy how it started. One's in Canada, one's in Atlanta, Georgia, and then there's one in Tennessee and one in St. George. Now, one of them I've never served with. I barely even served around. I barely know him. But yet, because we were all had the same mindset. I mean, these are good missionaries. These are good guys. We're all similar ages. We're all in the boat in the sense of family, where we're at in life. But we all do different businesses, right? From someone's in marketing, one's does self-employed, the other one does bounce houses. But what's so cool, Leon, is I can share anything with them, and they're going to be like, yeah, woo, yeah, good job. I have never found a group, or even my best friend growing up. If I told him good news, I don't think it would kind of go on deaf ears. Like, okay, that's great, sounds fantastic. When are we going to hang out again? Like if I think he would probably be there, but if I wanted to share the depths of my soul, I would probably not go there. And so with that, connecting those two things together is the fact that group has really helped me to move forward. Now, am I perfect? No. But am I getting closer to Christ? Yes, because every day we have a discussion on Come Follow Me. Every day. Throughout the day, we use an app called Marco Polo, so I can check it whenever, right? The video walkie-talkie, and it's awesome because someone will put out there a question. Hey, this is a question I was reading, and I have a question about it. What do you guys think? Boom! Within the day, people are answering. Or, oh, hey, it's your birthday. Or, I just had a huge success. I just sold a bunch of things in my business, and we get to celebrate there immediately. And hey, you know what? I'm really struggling. I don't know what to do, guys. Hey, give me something, right? And then we can talk. And it's like this mastermind group of spirituality, business, and just real life. And that's really what's helped me. And again, I'm not perfect, but man, I don't know if I didn't have that group every day, I don't even know how I lived. Like, it's just crazy because there's so much dopamine, there's so much good, because that's all we talk about is good things. Like, I look forward to when someone says, talks on there, and they're like, they share their story and what they're doing and their weightlifting gains, right? Or not. Some don't do any weightlifting. But really, if I have good in my life and I'm surrounded by good, bad is hard to come in.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got to have a tool, and I've got to have a group of people I can trust that if I was to do that, something bad was happening or good, I can share with them. And that's really led me to Christ, because now every day I'm thinking about Christ and the question on my mind, not just reading my scriptures, not just, self-study, that's good, but now I'm accountable to other people and what they're doing and what I'm doing. And it's huge. And more than that, it's just awesome to have that connection. So,
well, how do you and the group handle relapses in, just slipping up, making a mistake? How's that handled? Because a lot of times that contention that we have, we want that quick fix. We go to what our normal is, and then we do it, and immediately I messed up, I slipped. So the accountability that you have with your group, how is that handled? How is it received?
No problem. So one of the things that I love is the fact that we can be together and say, hey man, I'm struggling right now in this area. And all of them come together. Hey, I would try this, or I would try that. When it comes to necessarily addictions and those relapses, our group hasn't gotten to that point yet, where unfortunately we haven't dived into those things yet into this group. But what's fun there, and I can see that because we had a couple more people join, and just the camaraderie behind it, that trust is there, and to the point where it's like, hey guys, I'm struggling, I need help here. What can I help me out? And but yes, we're not there yet in that group for that part. It's hard on women for any kind of problem with their man, right? Because their man is their knight in shining armor, like you say. We're here to save the damsel, just like you said with those three things, and I can't remember the last one. But the fact that that's what's hard is finding those people that you can celebrate with. Hey, I overcame this. And like you said, with the warrior group, you got a bunch of guys getting together that want to succeed. And I think that's all it takes, is having an attitude of success in whatever it takes to do it.
Right. Absolutely. I love that. And when you have that group, you feel comfortable to where you can share the good and the bad, and it won't matter. And I think that that's exactly the way Christ intends our healing to be, right? If we have this group, whether it's one person, 4 people, 10 people, it's being vulnerable enough to say, hey, I'm in this place, I'm in this space, I need help. And I feel comfortable enough to be able to come to you and tell you, so that maybe you're going to be honest with me and tell me that I'm, whatever it might be. And we need that because it's important, because like you said, we need the group. Otherwise, being alone is the worst thing we could do, is be alone. That's just exactly where Satan wants us. And so I think that's really cool that you have the group that you're able to share those the wins, the gains, all of that positive. And I do hope, and I think it's been really incredible that, we've shared some incredible wins and not so great wins. We've been able to help each other. And that's what the gospel of Jesus Christ is about. It's not about me worrying if, I'm helping you out or you're helping me out. It's just the fact that I've got your back, you've got mine, and we're in this together, right? Because we want to go back together.
Well, yeah, because what's the biggest problem is the fear, right? I've got too much pride to allow me to tell you my problems and have you help me, because I have fear that I won't be accepted, right? And whatever my trial is, right? But the problem is they're suffering with something else. Like, everybody has something, right? But as soon as we can get that relationship of, hey, no matter what you say, I'm going to love you anyway, just as Christ, right? I'm going to love you anyway, because I also understand that I have issues. And and the relationship that we've been able to build, Leon, it's phenomenal, because it takes a step in both parties, right? But once you do, it's phenomenal, the trust and the success that both people can have. But we're so caught up in the natural man and in society that we're worried about what they think. And I'm guilty. I'm totally guilty, right? Because you're around people, you want them to like you. You don't want to bring out your dirty laundry, but at the same time, we could really help each other if we'll just not have fear. And, I mean, I'm not just saying just sling out all of your stuff on everybody, but there's greatness and power in when people can connect in a way that they can help each other and really win together. Share your wins and your struggles, and that's really where that relationship can blossom.
I love that. So from your childhood till now, what is your view on who Jesus Christ is and Heavenly Father to you now compared to when you were younger and to now?
Great question. Like I said, I didn't really know Christ growing up. I knew he was our Savior. I knew he died for us. I mean, I barely knew what the atonement was when I got on my mission, like what it really was, what it was called. But now, I'm, I think, starting to understand that he wants everything for us. I mean, he died for us, but more than that, it's understanding the friendship that he has with us, and understanding that through him, that's the only way we're going to be saved. Like, his grace is sufficient, though, but are we going to accept it? Are we going to be able to then turn and help others do the same thing? And for me, it's when I think about Jesus Christ now compared to then, I've had a lot of ups and downs throughout my whole life, and problems that really played with my mind, and mental and spiritual issues that played with my spirit and my mind as well. But to know that, and to come to know that he is really there, even though at times I don't allow him to enter, that he is always there knocking, and like that good news friend, I can for my problems, and he will listen. And I can tell my Heavenly Father that because of Christ, I can overcome anything. And it's that friendship, I think, that is building, that I'm starting to understand more and more in my life, and that I didn't have at that time in my life when I was young. And I think it's just building that trust together.
Yeah, I love that. Would you say that, or would you say that Jesus Christ is a friend now?
I think our friendship is growing. The biggest thing, Leon, again, is I'm the one that's the problem. I'm the guy that is in fear that, well, if I accept him and if I put my whole trust in him, that I'm going to mess up and he's not going to be my friend no more, like the little kid on the playground, right? And so I struggle with that at times, but I know he is there, and I know that he can continue, and he will always be that friend that will always be there, ready to go again, and ready to help again. But I find myself at times separating myself, and then realizing, man, that's dumb, man. Go, you know what to do. You know what's good. Go back, and when you do, you feel good, right? You feel good when you're close to Christ. So why in the heck do we go out and separate ourselves? Well, I guess because it's easy to do. And the world is telling us all the time. It's subconsciously being programmed into our brain all the time. And so we have to constantly be on the fight to reach up to Christ, right? To reach up to him when he's waiting there for us. So that's kind of where I'm at now, and I'm still in the journey of, my trust in Christ is way more, especially with recent events of my family and moving and knowing what house, like you mentioned, that not buying that house, and trusting that Christ's plan and our Heavenly Father's plan together is right, and that if I can lean on him and lean on the grace of Christ, we can make it anywhere on the path.
I love that. It's so true. With Christ, everything is possible. How would you say your life is different now in choosing Christ when you weren't?
Peace. When you quiet, when you're hiding, when you're doing something you shouldn't do, when you are having thoughts or the natural man is kicking in, you're always looking over your shoulder, right? That something will happen, or you'll get caught, or something, right? And so when you're following Christ, you have peace. You know what you're doing is right, and you don't have to worry about what others think or what, whatever else, right? If I'm doing what I'm supposed to, because you're living the life you should. And I love that, because the biggest problem, the biggest obstacle in life, I think, is fear. The fear of whatever, and the fear of the unknown. But really, when I've been the closest to Christ, I have the most peace in my life. And in a world of fast-paced stress, jobs, not being good enough, not doing this, if you have any issues, Facebook says you're a problem, right? Which I recently got off Facebook. I'm very proud of that, because in the last 3 months, I've had a lot less stress in my life, and that's helped a ton. But just really, it's just peace, and I think us in our world today are looking for peace. It comes through Christ, and the more that we seek after him, and right now, right, the more that I seek after him, the more peace I have. And that's been huge for me. That's been huge for my family. The more patient I am with my kids, the more patient I am with my wife, the more loving and caring I am. I'm not explosive, because I have more peace, even though the rest of the obstacles will still come, but I can handle them with more peace.
Yeah, I love that. It doesn't mean when we choose Christ that we're not going to make a mistake, or we're not going to, relapse or any of that. But what it causes is for us to be reminded quicker, oh wait, Christ is there. I made this mistake. It's okay. He's got me. I'm moving forward. I'm not going to wave the surrender flag and just say, forget it all.
Right.
Because that's what Satan would want us to do.
Right. What options do you have? I mean, shoot, if you'd relapse and say, well, too bad, I'm done, well, then you're just going down the bottom of the hole, right? You just keep going further down. Right. But Christ says, okay, great. You're probably going to mess up again in something, right? And if we're always in fear that that I can't progress, then you won't. You will choose to stop. You'll cut yourself off. But people don't understand that life is a journey, and with Christ at our side, we can make it through. Because as soon as we do something wrong, we have fear, because Christ already known about it, right? He already knows what we did wrong. But if I have fear, well, now I won't say anything. Now I won't speak up. Now I won't get help. And now I'm going backwards. And there will be multiple mistakes, but people don't like to hear that, right? Mm-hmm. People don't think, hey, well, you should be fixed, right?
Right.
I don't think better now comes very quickly. There's improvement, but there's something else. You might be an alcoholic and you might never drink anymore, but that doesn't mean you don't want a drink.
That's right.
And that doesn't mean that you don't have other issues now to deal with, that something else is because it's just about time, right? I put all my time into alcohol. That's what I was thinking about. Well, now that's out of my life, but something else is going to fill that void. And I have to keep.
Yeah.
There's always going to be something, and I need to keep close to Christ to have that guide throughout the path.
Right. To say what you were saying, or I would say diversify your time. So we don't focus on one thing. You know, there are aspects in our lives, obviously, where there's more things that we will turn to easier or more often than others. But I think that if we could focus on one thing at a time to overcome or to put to sleep, just set aside, just finally allow the Savior to take that as we place that on the altar of sacrifice. You know, we take care of that, and then we work on the next thing, and then the next thing. I think that if we try to do it all at once collectively, like you said, it's just too much. It's inevitable. We're going to fall at something, and Christ knows that, and he expects it, and he loves us for it. As long as we continue to look to him and move forward, we'll be okay. We will be, even if we're messing up. And I think people need to understand that. I'm not saying we're presuming on Christ's grace, but the fact that we recognize that there's a lot that happens to us with trauma, with, just horrible circumstances and situations that we tend to, relapse with certain things. And we just need to recognize that Christ has already paid the price for all of it. I don't add more to the plate. I don't add more suffering to him because it's been taken care of, thankfully. And I'm grateful for that. But again, that doesn't mean I want to presume on it, meaning I get just to do whatever I want.
Right.
I mean, there's a fine line, right? I mean, I think Satan would want us to just be like, it's fine. I'm okay. I can do whatever because Christ paid for it and it's okay. I think there's some real danger there. And if we can just recognize where we're humble and recognize we made a decision, we made a choice, and that it was a mistake, and Christ has taken care of it, but I want him to help me. I need to be humble in that matter. Otherwise, it's just hot air.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you there. That's well said.
Yeah. Is there anything else in your life, in your journey in coming into Christ, that you would like to share that you haven't shared?
Great question. One thing that I would love to tell the listeners, and something in my life is just don't quit. In my household, one of the sayings that I tell my kids is Hickses don't quit. And because in the world where it's easy to quit a marriage, It's easy to quit on family. It's easy to quit a job. It's hard for people to even stay employed right now because everybody's just quit. I'm an educator, right? And I have students all the time that just like, just whatever. And that attitude is hard to overcome because it's easy to quit. And I think that plays right in our path of our path with Christ to end this journey. Don't quit. Whatever you do, don't quit. Keep going. Find the people in your life, or maybe they're not in your life now. Maybe you have to find them somewhere else. Like you were just saying, maybe you need to go on a retreat. Maybe you need to go somewhere because you don't have access to those people that are going to change your life for the better. You can't do it alone. And on this earth, you have people who are willing to help you and to help, and for you to help them. You're a key part of someone else's life. And for me, these 4 other brethren that have really changed my life and really helped me, it's been huge. It's been life-changing. And everyone needs to have that. Everyone needs to have that in their life. And so all I would say, in addition to what I'm saying, is my life story has been a great soap opera, has been a great story in the sense of the ups and downs, the roller coasters. But we have a choice to keep going, and we have a choice to find others that can help us along the path. So if you don't have them in your life, those good news friends, find them. Do something different. Change your life. Move cities. Move. Find a new social group. Go and find a new, meetup group or something else where you can find a new hobby with people that you can connect with. But if you want your life to change, you might have to change it. And once you find those people, life will get better and easier than trying just to do it yourself. And if it's not your family, fine. Find someone else. I find family sometimes are my least good news friends because they know me. They know me, right? And sometimes you got to go out and find others that successes and help you along the way. So I guess that's my parting shot, is just the fact that don't quit and find people that can help you through your addictions, through your trials, through your problems, through your mistakes, but also to be there to celebrate your successes.
Right. I love that. As you were talking, it reminded me of the Book of Mormon in the destruction of the Nephite army, or the Nephite civilization, rather. And the main reason why they were destroyed was because they chose to do it alone. Every time Mormon would ask them to turn to their God, they would claim, we got this, we don't need him, who's God, right? And I love that because it's true. The only way that we're going to make it through this is with him, with our surrounding angels that are around us, our groups, our good news friends, those people that we bring into our lives, or that God brings into our lives, and that we are able to have that connection with. It is super imperative that we have connection. We were all created to connect with one another. Never were we meant to do it alone. And if we choose to do it alone, it will be lonely, hard, sad, difficult, more challenging. But if we choose to do it with Christ, with our groups, with our good news friends, with those people that we bring into our lives are so much better. We're richly blessed in our journey in coming to Christ with the use of others. So I love that. That's awesome.
Exactly.
So let me think. Is there anything else you want to share? Or you're good?
Oh, This has been an awesome experience, Leon. I'm super grateful for you inviting me to come on to here. But yeah, no, just that's kind of it. Like,
Okay.
there's so much more to coming to Christ, and it's a journey. Don't be afraid
Right.
to have a bump or obstacle, right? We all get through it. So no, that's all I have. I appreciate it.
Good. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much. And before I let you go, I always ask the guest to, in the first person, if Christ was sitting here today, what would you want him to know?
That's a fantastic question. What would I tell him that he doesn't already know? One thing that I think, if he was sitting here with me today, and the question or what I would want to tell him is, I am grateful for his sacrifice, because without it I would never be able to get anywhere, because of, I could ask him questions, but more than anything I think it's just because of that sacrifice. That's the only way I could do anything, because I've made too many mistakes, Leon, but that's everybody. And if he was sitting here today, I would just have to give him a hug and say thank you, because there's nothing else I could do. And all the mistakes that I will make, all the mistakes that I have made, without him, it would be pointless. And I would just tell him how thankful I am to have this opportunity to live this life. Because there's been, I'm going to learn, I'm going to grow, but really it's just because of him I was even able to be on this earth, right? And because of that, I am grateful to have this opportunity. So that's what I would say.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Well said, Kevin. I think you have a beautiful family. You are an incredible man, and I'm grateful to know you, and you're one of my good news friends. You are a wonderful man, a great example. So thank you for coming on and being vulnerable and sharing with us your journey in coming to Christ. Continue to climb your mountain, Kevin, because we all got those mountains. So thank you, and continue in your journey, and good luck with your business and with your family. And we will see you again soon.
Thank you so much, Leon. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.